Hey everyone and welcome, my name is Dora and in today's video I'm asking you to help me choose my Pan palette for 2024. Now I've got 6 palettes in front of me here. There are no repeat brands and I have randomized the order in which I'm showing you these palettes. Now it's really late in the evening, I'm very tired, I've just slapped on some extra makeup just to make it work, and I hope this is an incentive for me to go through this really quickly. So let's kick off with the first one. So option number 1 is the Urban Decay Prince palette, also called You Got the Look. Now this one won in my palettes I'd like to pan, my so-called pre-selection for Pan That Palette 2024, and this was the most popular choice on the poll. So we've got a 10 pan palette here, and I've already hit 2 pans. Now these shades are not that easy to work on in terms of color story. Obviously, you know, we have a lot of very deep shades here. This one here is a matte shade with glitter, Chocodelica, the one with pan. It would work quite easily, I think, as an outer corner thing, even like a smoky eye look. I know that I did that when I was trying to hit pan in it. The top row is probably easier to work on, obviously. I think a lot of these could be you know, shades I could use on a daily basis, like Sexy Dancer here, a matte sort of bone colored one. Crystal Ball would be a good inner corner highlight. I'm not that much into these sort of warm metallics. And then we've got here Love to the Nines, which is quite a nice neutral colored matte shade with a really nice formula on it. In terms of size of these pans, each pan is 0.75 grams, so a little bit less than our usual 1.0 grams per pan. So okay, option number 1. Option number 2 is by Essence, and it's the Welcome to Miami palette. There are 12 pans in here and each pan contains 1.1 grams. I've already hit the 1 pan here in that lilac matte shade. I think the color story looks really fun. Again, these warmer, probably that one I'm probably the most worried about. But then again, you know, I could probably always use it in conjunction with other shades to make it work. We've got 2 very neutral mattes here. This one is a bit more pinkish leaning. This one is a bit more yellow leaning. I think, yeah, especially that one I've already hit pan on, and this pink shimmer shade, they look really fun to me. I think I'd also quite enjoy working on these blues here. And yeah, these mattes here, I mean, I like a purpley, mauvey, rose-colored matte. Why not? I think it's quite easy to wear. Brown matte shade is always easy for deepening out on the outer corner. So this is option number 2. Option number 3 is my oldest Revolution palette. It's probably my 2nd oldest palette, I think. I need to double check on that, but I've definitely had it for a while. So I think that's a good reason to work on this. Plus another good reason is that I have so many Revolution palettes. It's always good for me to be working on a Revolution palette, to just get one out every year. I think that's kind of not a bad idea. This palette is called Revolution Chilled, and here is what it looks like. Now, obviously, there's a lot of green going on in here, but there's also a ton of neutral shades in here too. But not counting these pressed glitters here, which I'd probably use as nail polish. Apart from the silver one, I'm quite happy to wear that on my eyelids because I think the fallout isn't really that out of place. So aside from those, there are actually only 6 green shades in here out of an 18 pan palette. And excluding the 3 pressed glitters, that means there are 9 neutral shades in here. And even though it might look like a monochromatic palette at first sight, I think actually it's mainly a neutral palette with green. But I do like wearing green quite a lot on my eyelids. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 greens. I know that one might look like a green, but if you swatch it, it's actually a bronzy metallic. There's not much green going on in there IRL. Yeah. So there's that. I've already got 1 pan in here hit as well. That was quite fun. That was in Pan Those Eyeshadows this year. So I think this is also a good contender. And again, these shades are 1.1 grams per pan. All right, the next palette I've got here is by Catrice and it's called Tropic Exotic Limited Edition Tropic Exotic Eyeshadow Palette in C01 Tropic Escape. I don't know where they were going with all of these different names, but here we are. This is a very reflective 9-pan palette, and the pans are actually fairly big. They're about 1.33 grams per pan. I've got barely any prior use on this, but I've done like an old pan left behind on it, I think for deco panning last year, and I really enjoy the formula of these. Again, I love these teal colored shimmers. I think they're really fun. And then there's like a ton of neutrals. 1, 2, 3 mattes. I'd say this one is a satin shade here, the peachy one. I think this is a very pretty reddish pink. It's not a very good swatch. Yeah, I think that's very pretty. I could probably use that as a blush if I needed to. I wonder if I could use this as like an eyebrow colour as well, eyebrow powder. In a corner highlight, you know, blending out the crease shade. It's all there. I think this would work quite well all year round, so it's got that going for it. And I think it's probably quite a good companion palette. And also, I'm not very attached to it because I think I've got all of these shades in other palettes as well, so panning this, getting rid of it, would probably be a good thing. My next palette here is by BH Cosmetics and it's the Colori Vivaci. And this is a 16-pan palette. These pans are tiny. They are 0.625 grams only per pan, so that's really attractive for panning. But I do get the variety of having a 16-pan palette. I think that could be quite fun to watch me pan this, because I would imagine that hitting pan on these could be like really easy and quick, and then from hitting pan to finishing the shade, again, that could be really fun. This palette has got no prior use on it whatsoever. I haven't even swatched it, but I really like what's going on in here color story wise. You know, I've got like a good variety of like teals and blues again. Like I said, I enjoy these colors. There's this periwinkly shimmer shade here. Then yeah, there's a yellow matte again. I've kind of learned to love that. I've got a yellow matte in my current pan that palette, and in the beginning I was like, oh, I'm scared, but I found ways of using it that I actually enjoy. And again, I think that would look really nice with like these pinks especially. Yeah. Then this bottom row is just mattes, neutral, reddish leaning, warm leaning. I like this pinky shimmer here as well. Yeah, I think this could be really fun, but it's a fairly new palette. I only got this for my birthday in May, earlier this year. So maybe its time isn't here yet to try and pan this to completion. My final palette is by Barry M and it's the Black Cherry palette. If you could just about still make that out, the packaging is, you know, taking a bit of a hit here and there. This is starting to rub off. So this is another 9-pan palette. I've already hit 2 pans, one in bitter, so this is a matte shade, and then one in wild. This one especially was super easy to hit pan in. And this one, I don't think it took me that many uses either. Both of them were in Pan Those Eyeshadows earlier this year. I love this pop of pink here, absolutely love it. I've never used or swatched it. I really like these two colours here as well, these shimmers. So this is sort of, well, cherry coloured, I guess. This one here, I'm wondering if this could be, if this might be a little bit too shiny for an inner corner highlight. You can't really tell from here, but I'm seeing like quite big chunks of, not that big, but quite glittery. And I'm also wondering whether this might be too samey to try and pan across a whole year. But then again, you know, it's starting to look a little bit ratty. So maybe a good moment to try and pan this. All right, so these are my 6 palettes. So what I've decided to do is that I want to make a poll again. but I'm only able to put 4 options into a poll. So if you leave me a comment and let me know what your favorite palette or palettes are out of this lot, or what you think I should be working on, or maybe also what is your least favorite one, then I can create a list of the top 4 choices from these 6, and then I can put the poll up, leave it up for about a month, until I then close it and officially film my intro for Pan That Palette 2024. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much also in advance for helping me make my decision. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I'm sending you so much love. Take care, bye. Mwah.